What up, y'all? What's up? Peace is your boy, NFO Merc. What we doing? How y'all feeling, YouTube, man? Happy holidays, happy New Year's, and all that. Right? I recently heard somebody say on the intro that if you got any extras, any extra fabric, any extra jackets, sleeves, food, anything like that, man, go outside and give it to the less fortunate, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I think that was so cool. Like that's the truth. So I like, like for who if you could afford to do it, if you got old clothes, old jackets, old scarf, old hats, if you could, give it to somebody less fortunate because it's super cold out there. It's cold, just temperature wise, and also the mentality that's seem to be permeating on in your atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? I recently lost a friend of mine on Christmas Day. It's 2024, about to be 2025, and I lost a friend of mine on Christmas Day. Man, he was a good dude, very good dude to me. You know what I mean? My brother, I lost my brother a few years back to cancer. He was fighting cancer. I got to make a video about that with Dr. Sabi and my brother and my understanding towards health and cancer and so forth and stuff to that nature. You know what I mean? So, I was thinking like along the lines of why is ignorance bliss? That was what got me here, right? But that little introduction is all in there too because it got something to do with the all versus the individual. You know what I mean? Um, so like I said, man, rest in peace to my homie Ernest Pickett. I mean, moment of silence for sure. I'm not even sure if I want to put the news article in there and so forth, man, because it was painful for me to watch, and but I'll just probably put his picture up there. You know what I mean? Reminisce on the good times that we had, the times that we shared. On my earlier video, I got the cost of life is pretty much the way we interact with death. It's physical pain and it's the pain from grieving, losing the people that we love. This is pretty much what this reality is going to be dealing you out. It's going to be physical pain. And if you can make money real enough, where you can have financial pains, and then also like grieving pains from like people you lost, whether it's a girlfriend or actual family members or somebody that you held near and dear in in your life. You know what I mean? So that's painful, and it's understandable though at the same time, right? Uh, it's a lot of stuff that we could learn. So my brain said, "Why is ignorance bliss?" Right? When I study that phrase, I realized that ignorance is bliss to those who want to be controlled. Right? When you want to be controlled, you would probably take the first rendering of the matrix. You won't do no investigation. You'll just hear what the government says and believe it. Then the way we understand information has already been understood by those people that was here before you, the establishments that were here before you, these new technology companies, these marketing companies, the penal system. I was in the supermarket today, and we was on our way out. I got a 3-year-old, my little girl. We was walking through we was on our way out, and the check in the register aisle. We about to leave, and the products. We already know about the product placement and the different stuff they had there, and because she's new to earth, she's falling for the trick, hook, line, and sinker, right? And no matter how cheesy the trick is, her asking me for it triggers a certain emotional response to, damn, I want to get it. Let me pick this up, right? And you can't do that, right? You cannot cater to the lower nature because then you'll be catering to that for a long time, right? You have to be the example. You have to show and prove, and you have to teach your predecessor. I think that's the word for it. Your progeny, your seeds, the future. You're gonna have to cultivate the future from the way you handle the now. You can cultivate your future from the way you handle your now. Right? Do something now that will benefit you in the future. Right? This is why when men work out or women work out, anybody that works out, and I mean, it's a form of discipline because you're whatever you have in your mind, you're putting your body to, and it's so easy to get deterred, right? Because to work out, is so many other things that's way more fun than working out. So you got to work out for a while so that can be so addictive that it's nothing more fun than you working out. But when somebody's coming in from not working out into working out, they want to go and chill, sleep, eat, all the stuff that is not other than working out. You understand? So so there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to try to touch on today real fast so they can understand that the people that came before you was already charting the mind, right? Like I love to use the yin yang, and the yin yang, the circle, whatever's in the circle, right, is to be understood. So when we place the your mind in that circle, you would get a subconscious mind and a conscious mind, right? It's like the iceberg, piece of the iceberg sticking out the water, the other piece is submerged underwater, and it's way bigger. The iceberg is that's underwater. 9 out of 10 is usually bigger than the piece that's sticking up. That's just the way it works, right? So, our primary conscious is above the water, above the our subconscious. This is our attitude. This is our ego. This is our voice. This is the stuff that we do. This is the stuff that just the flesh. It's man, right? And everything that's here in this reality that is here to teach us about other realities, right? So I'm one that believes that the world is flat because the government tell me it's round. That's pretty much just the first step in why I went over there. Because the reason why I went over like that is because this is the same government that okayed slavery. I mean, people are gonna say, "Oh, come on." I said, "I know." And it's the same government that okays the racism. This is the same government that allows Rodney King to get beat by 4 cops and then let 2 be guilty and 2 not be guilty, but all 4 of them hit him. Recently, there's a guy that recently got beat to death in a New York State um, correction facility, right? And they suspended the people. One resigned. There's nobody getting locked up. But if it was the other way around, that person would be getting locked up, would be going through getting charged with the crimes that they have committed. But because they represent a piece of the law, whether it's COs and police and feds and the different chains, they still you still represent a piece of the law. You still had to swear and a oath. You still put on that stupid ass uniform and you shot them little goofy ass shoes and you put that little fucking dumbass hat on and you ran your ass in there at 11 to 7. Or I mean, what's it called? 7 to 3, 3 to 11, and 11 to 7. Right? Those are the 3 shifts that most of the government people run on. You know what I'm saying? And they honored that. They came in there like that. There's no such thing as a cool CO, even if he was allowing shit to go on because of the fact that you pick this. I understand though. We understand that motherfuckers gotta do what they gotta do to get money, but it's a certain type of there's a certain type of intake that comes with it. I seen it with my own 2 eyes. If something happens, a melee, a fisticuff, a swashbuckle breaks out, the correction people will come and assault the inmate. Then one asks is if this is what happened, what's right, who's wrong. Nobody does that. When the bad cop beats you up inside of a goddamn closet, inside of a back room, and you hollering for your life and all of that, no one comes from the other side that's dressed like them and tell them to chill the fuck out. It very, very seldom happens. It very seldom happens. And more than likely, it goes the other way. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I have a very hard time trying to find the good in a corrupted system when the system itself was based off this corruption. You understand what I'm saying? So um that got some, I don't know. That was just my personal spill from the intake of news that I took in over the weekend since my homie had passed away. The algorithm had been feeding me more tragic news. I tend not to look that direction. I try to look towards the bright side of life and be happy that everyone's here surviving and making the best out of it, creating new memories and living out of love, right? So once we slice the reality into two, right? That primary conscious and subconscious, we get the yin yang. But you can see there's actually 4 because that slice right there, then those 2 dots. So that dot itself is another yin yang that's possibly projecting more white than the other dot is the other yin yang that's projecting more black. But it exists in the opposites of itself so we can see the dots, right? Everything that's in creation right, has to be the opposite of its surroundings in order for it to exist. It cannot be the same, because then it would just be nothing. It would just smudge in to whatever it's touching. So it has to be sealed off, right, so that it can be independent of itself against something else, right? And as corny as that may sound, people say, "Oh, I already know that." You know what I mean? But you got to keep that in mind, because you're going to take this all the way to the extreme of something, right? So the people that came here before you, when they first sliced the all, which is the mind that interprets everything, the mind is where your universe lies. Your universe lies in your mind. You understand that, right? There's a cardinal rule about the universe. It only exists because you exist. You got to understand that. That is the key piece to everything, right? You are the most important piece to the puzzle, because the minute that you don't exist, neither does the puzzle. You understand? So you are the most important piece. You are the observer, and you are the reactor in the whole thing, right? So these people that come before you, right? They have charted the mind, the land, and the way everything corresponds with one another, and they make a business off of it. They create institutions off of it. They create laws off of it. They create politics off of it. They go into lobbying because of this, right? And if you should spend some time on that parliament floor and hear the stuff that the lobbyist is okaying, you will be surprised. And this is, you will understand how the drugs and the politicians and the got anything, the crime, the police, the puffies and all that shit is coming into play, right? Because you start to see the sinister nature in this product placement at the goddamn exit of the supermarket. It's sugared up. It does you no good. There's nothing healthy in the most healthiest part of the supermarket. They say is around the edges, right? You're going to get produce. You're going to get some frozen meats, and you're probably going to get some bread and so forth like that. But in the middle, when everything's packaged up and dried up and processed up, that's the most unhealthy part of the supermarket. You understand? So you need to keep this in mind. There's a healthy mind, healthy body, and a healthy spirit, and you have a healthy surrounding. So you cannot take in something to the body, because the body and the mind is connected. So the yin yang can also look like the mind in the body. Then it can also look like the man in the world. You understand? So this yin yang is interchangeable, because everything is the yin yang. All right. So when we start to understand the reality a little bit more, we put it in a circle and we slice it in multiples, keeping everything equal, and then we come up with angles. And you have, so the more angles we can understand, right? So we got five. This is we in the five, right? Five. We in this five full reality of sorts, right? We got four primary elements, and you as the observer, right? Then you as the observer is looking at the reality through three folds, right? And it's four primal primary things. We end up with 12, because 3 times 4 equals 12, which is the hours of the day, right? The hours of the day is corresponding with that threefold and those four elements, right? You understand that? Check. Good. Now, the is 22 sounds the human can make naturally. Like there's like um guttural, muted, is very technical on where your tongue is in order for you to make the sound, right? Because some people believe if you remove the tongue, remember people used to get their tongue cut out and they were still able to make a certain type of sound without the tongue. You may not be able to go through the whole alphabet, but there's certain parts of the alphabet that you can say without the tongue actually having to hit the roof of the mouth in order to make the thing, and so forth. The way your mouth is shaped, where your tongue is positioned, and the way the air comes out of your body. This is all a sacred process, and we take this sacredness for granted. So the naming of something, right? When we name something, a particular title, that word that we use to come in it, we have to use air, breath, and so forth to come through your temple to go a certain way in order for that thing to be said correctly. You understand? So that's a sacred process. So naming something is sacred, right? So when they understand the man, right? This is a religion. The priest, the Jay-Z's like a priest, Puffy's like a priest, TD Jakes is like a priest. Then anybody on the screen is a priest because they're trying to program you or deprogram you, which is a form of programming anyway. So we're all competing for seats in your mind, right? And that's where your creative power lives, which is God, a God-like functionality in the reality, right? So when they cut the star, let's say arm, leg, leg, arm, head into 5 pieces, we also get the law. Then we put your man, what's it called? Um, Somebody drew the man standing in the circle and the square because the circle and the square is Masonic, right? Remember you're talking about the square and the compass. The compass makes the circle and the square makes the straight lines. They both represent 360 degrees, and you are in the middle because you are the observer and you are the primary player in every game, right? So, um, I forget the I'll put it up there, the prodigal man or whatever it is, standing there with his arms open, his feet wide apart, and the head in the middle, right? So we got 5 points, right, to create a star. And then you change the vowels from star, you get story. So you get starry, story, because every star has a story. Every star has a story, hence the zodiac. The zodiac, we got 12 different constellations. We got so those 12 constellations and those different windows in which you could come in form an archetype, form a personality, form a personality, and then that's like certain type of ego that caters to something, and it has a negative and it has a positive, right? And they already charted all of this. This is why when people say something about Puff, people say, oh, it's about somebody taught him. We can always say that with great certainty because because it's 2024. He's never going to be the first. There's nothing original under the sun. You understand what I'm saying? So it's an archetype, it's a personality trait that personality trait has been ever running since whenever. Just it's been charted in the Bible. We got Cain, we got Abel, we got Lucifer, we got Satan, we got Jesus, we got Peter, we got Paul, we got John, we got Gabriel, we got Joseph, we got Mary Magdalene, and Mary, Jesus' mother, and we got a whole bunch of names. We got I don't know, Malkut, Muhammad, and names just keep going. And these are personality traits. These are psychological resonators to those words and names and those people and places and things, right? So there's nothing original under the sun. They're just repeating and they're living in the now under certain things. And this is what the lobbyists have understood. This is what the matrix makers have understood. Because once you understand your reality as such, you start to create a reality to mimic what you understand, right? So you hear people say that this is a simulation that we living in, because we never left Earth. The simulation, right? To say that we live in a simulation is to confirm in my thoughts the firmament, right? Because that would justify where the simulation ends and begins, right? So if they never left Earth, and then people start asking other questions. So like, damn, so the stars and the moon, all that stuff, where is that at? And it's being projected onto the dome, right? Which is what we perceive as the night sky or the day sky. You understand? So we never left the dome, and everything is shining on the dome. The dome is stationary; it doesn't move. It's the stuff around it that's moving. The sun is pivoting in and out. We can chart the sun over a certain amount of time, and you can start to see this infinity sign. Maybe 365 days it takes for a complete loop of what the sun does, right? There's other planets that we monitor and chart that we call stars. Me and you would think they're stars, but they planet. How come every planet illuminates like a star? How come Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Saturn, if you've seen any of these planets from a microscope, they glow like stars, right? And then sometimes some of the stars be pulsating and so forth. So they got different names for the different reasons. They're gonna tell you all the reasons why. But when you break that paradigm and you consider those things as every star has a moon, and if every star has a moon, they also have to have a part of the Earth that is governed by that. So then when you shatter the whole paradigm of not just the Earth being flat, Like, so people say, oh, it's flat like a CD, because they still want to see it floating in space. But if this is the basement of space, this is the bottom of space, and this is ever growing, right? So I believe that when the way that people understand the gods or the phenomena of life, we personify them. Hence the arm, leg, arm, head, right? It's a star, and then that star will have uh, stuff about it that we can control, manipulate, or understand, and we could probably make at least 5 good points about that luminary thing, right? So you hear Mars is the god of war, and then we got a planet named Mars, and it's red. So now you see red got something to do with blood, stop, violent, danger, so forth, right? So you got green, which symbolize Earth. Earth is green and blue. So green was his life. You know what I mean? So Earth is an algorithm or algorithm. I forget when what this particular term is, but Earth has the same letters reconfigured that spell out heart. You know what I mean? So Earth and heart has something to do with it. So Earth is in the middle of something, right? Like the heart is. The heart is like one of the central points of where everything emanates from, right? Emanate in time backwards. Emanate backwards is time. You understand what I'm saying? So all this stuff is not by chance. It's not happenstance. You can't say, "Oh, that was pretty cool, Merc," or "Do that again." You know what I mean? It's always going to be happening because there's a line, I like to say, running, and also clues being left because they need to be able to awaken their own while keeping you asleep. So this is, I always wonder why is the truth still always running with the narrative, because they always got to keep the truth alive in order to tell theirs where the truth is, because they can't have them lost either. You understand? So it's a necessity to keep the truth going, because if not, the truth could die with the lie that's being told. You understand? So starry star, ignorance is bliss. You're being controlled by these stars, these fake stars like Jay-Z's and the Puff Daddies and all that. And when you take those forms in, you also take it in with a form of emotion. And so when you took the word black in, or male, or female, or poor, or ugly, or cute, or all that, it all had an emotional parallel running with it. So now when somebody uses that word against you, you're with your black ass, with your big black ugly nose and lips and naughty hair, you start to have an emotional response. Somebody say you Democrat, I'm Republican, you get an emotional response. Somebody say Black Lives Matter, you get an emotional response. Somebody say White Lives Matter, you get an emotional response. You understand what I'm trying to say, right? So this is all a game, a divisive game by somebody. Now, the culprit is those juicies who do not let to be named and called in the reality. But he has names like Peckerwood and Nigger that was set off two different people, make those two people stay at war. But we don't have a word for him because he has systematically tried to remove himself out of the reality so that that won't happen. And he gets to blend underneath the cracker or the peckerwood or the white or the colonizer. He gets to hide behind that and let that person be the nigga to them that's fighting the nigga they created in you. All right, it's NFL Merc, the code breaker, man. Y'all made it this for like, comment, subscribe. You know what I mean, ask me something, man. I can answer the question. I hope this makes sense. If not, watch it again. I guarantee you it would. Um, so anything in the reality can be broken down in at least 5 planes, right? So they got the 5 points of the circle to make the star. We live in a five. We live in a 5-4 reality. Hence the 5 fingers and the 5 toes, right? The 5 appendages from the center. There we got this called this the core, right? The Earth's core, the middle. And we got an arm 1, a leg 2, another leg 3, arm 4, and the head 5. Right. So we live in. We understand where the 5 is coming from. Right. Um, we have our genitalia, which is a hidden point, which really makes it a 6-pointed star when you're dealing with the woman now, because that's a different attribute. Same thing with the man, because there's always a hidden point in the star, because it's points that's new points that's facing you at the same very time. You are the observer. So you sometimes we factor ourselves in, and sometimes we factor ourselves out, depending on what the math is. So we got land, and what governs the land is science, ethics, money, freedom, and people. Land. So it could be the circle. Then we will have science, ethics, money, freedom, people. right? And that's what's on the land. Right? You got DNA, you got white, all, like, but the science is going to study DNA. The ethics is going to be studied by the whites. The money is going to be used by the all. The freedom is going to be hidden in speech, and the people is going to be represented through the children. Right? That I had notes down here, and that's why I had to look down there for that. And I think that makes sense. So, land, it can also be done by population, selling products, culture, useful land, and natural resources like oil and gold. This is how shapes get land states get their shape, right? From usable land and unusable land. So, like places like Maine, where it's next to Canada, every so often they argue about the state lines because it's got to be a certain. They got it worked out to a T. We living in a matrix where the metrics is numbers. All right, and the numbers represents information. All right, and we put those numbers in the computer, and the computer will put up an image that doesn't look like numbers. This is why in the Matrix, in the movie, they would show you the code raining down, but the guy can see Neo and them flying. He can see it as it is. But me and you looking at it like it's just numbers because it's representing a code. Everything in this reality is coded. Hence your boy and full Merc the code breaker. Like I said, man, peace. I love you. You already know. Happy New Year's and all that good stuff. One, like, comment, subscribe, man. I think I kicked ass just now. Let me know what's up. Tell me how I did. If it makes sense. If I'm crazy. If you lost. If you want me to break it down again, I can. It's nothing. You understand? Peace. People don't get confused because I bring up stars. The stars ain't nothing for you to be confused about. You call these niggas stars, and you confused about them. You know what I mean? Look at that. Look how you emotionally invested into that. It's people crying because Little Dirk in jail. People don't care who he killed. People cry when King Von died. They didn't care who he killed. There's people. I mean, people cry because Puffy died. I mean, Puffy not died, but Puffy in jail. They don't care who he killed. You know, another thing I think is kind of crazy that we also living in a timeline where we gonna hear shit like Suge Knight died in jail, R. Kelly died in jail, and possibly Puff died in jail. Our kids might hear how goddamn Dirk dies in jail. This is the reality that we living in. What a time to be free. What a time to be alive. Let's be smart. Let's govern your lower nature. Don't give into your perversions. Do not give into your addictions if they're going to lead you to the penitentiary or somewhere away from your family. Be smart. Think like the king and queen and God and goddess that you are. Don't let them program you to be no nigga. Don't let them program you to be no bitch. Don't let them program you to be no thought. Don't let them program you to be no inmate, no gangster, no dead nigga on these streets. It's dead niggas walking and it's dead niggas being made today. Don't become none of that. You could think above that. You could live above that. You could do more than that. You are more than that. No word can define who you are. Why let these words that they left you with define you that? Change your emotional frequency. Change your reality. Change the people you hang out with. Change the stuff you put into your body and watch your reality change. All right? With that said, man, third time I'm out. Peace. One.